This conference.
Hello, guys.
Good evening, Bala.
Hello, Bala. Good evening. Good evening, Karthik. Good evening, Ed. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we are good.
How are you?
How about you?
Good, man. Good, man. Ah, okay. Let's start. Let's wait for one more minute and we'll start. Okay. Okay, let's start. Okay. So we are talking about core connectors, and I'm trying to explain you what is a template. So I promise you that you all understand what is a template by end of today's session is. Okay. I'll try my level best, man. So I said template is nothing but it's a collection of services, right? In core connector, what they have done is they have divided the integration into many services, right? Like for example, let's say if you want to know an example for a service, I can give you an example for service, like output file name sequence generator, right? So this is an example for a service. So you will configure the sequence generator here. So based on that, you are going to get the functionality. So nothing but a collection of services. So when you talk about services, right? Some services are common for all templates. Okay. Let's say I have an example of template one. Let's say worker template. I have a worker template. Let's say it has got a service one, service two, service three. There are three services are there, right? And I have another template two. The template two also will have service one, service two, and service three. In addition to that, the worker will have worker related services, which will not be found in any other template. Okay. So at this point of time, you need to know a template is nothing but a collection of services. Okay. That's all you need to know. Then we go one by one. Okay. Note one. Template is the collection of services. Second point. Let's go and do it. Okay. Create integration system, the task name to create core connector integration is create integration system. Okay, go on, click this one. You need to name the integration first. What is the name of your integration? It's CC underscore 19 underscore 3 underscore 1. Okay, and just coming with some kind of a name, because I'm taking multiple classes. So this is my third session today. So on 19th, the third session, the first attempt I'm trying to do it. Okay, so don't worry about it. And I'm going to choose a template called go and go to the category and search for worker. Core connector worker. This is the template I selected. Nothing else I did. First step is name the integration. Next step is select the template. Right? Example, what is it? Core connector worker. I selected. Immediately, it will take you to the next screen. In the next screen, what you see is what is this template contains. You have selected a template called core connector worker. That is what you selected, right? So it will tell you the name of the integration, and the integration template is core connector worker. Okay. So the template contains multiple services. How many services this template has got? This template has got 26 services are available. Right. So all the template does not need to have 26 services. It might have 24, it might have 30. It depends upon what type of template that you are dealing with. Okay. So if you look at all the templates are listed here. Integration template service and the initial service to invoke, optional, enabled. So there are 4 columns are available. The first column will tell you what are the templates available here. The second column will tell you whether this particular template is going to be part of the initial startup, right? And the third column is going to tell you whether it is an optional or not. And last column will tell you whether you enabled the service or not. Okay. So the fourth column is the one that you always deal with. When you look at all these services, some of the services are already enabled. You cannot go and modify them. Some of the services are optional, right? So you can go and enable it if you want it. Okay. So if you go through all the list of services, some of them are already enabled. You don't have a choice. Those things has to be there. And some of them are optional. Only you can select whether you want the optional one. You can go and select. Otherwise, you don't need to select it. Okay. So what happens is all the services that you require to complete an integration for core connector worker is available for you. Now, some people may not want full-fledged one. They want a semi portion of this. So they will select whatever they require. Okay. Next point, what you need to understand is some of the services are mandatory. Okay. We don't have a choice to disable them. On the other hand, some of the services are optional, right? You have rights to choose or ignore. Depends on your requirement. Okay. This is what you need to know. What is the requirement? What to select? I'll tell you later. Okay. Now, I just want to go through a small list of services. See, the core connector worker ESB service, which is nothing but, right, when you have some time, right, you can totally ignore all the services and the corresponding functionality, the services which are mandatory. You like it or not, those services are going to be there, right? So you can totally ignore them, what it does, and you can only concentrate on the optional ones. In fact, initially your concentration should be only on the optional one, right? The optional one will pave you the road to understand the mandatory one. Okay, so let's ignore all the mandatory stuff, what it does initially. We will revisit and we will do it after gaining some fundamental knowledge on the services. Okay, now I'm coming to the optional services. Look at the optional services, right? The stuff that you understand is what they have done is they have divided all the worker related data. They have divided all the worker related data into different modules. See, the worker, you look at the service name, core connector worker personal data selection fields. So worker will have 3,000 fields. Out of 3,000 fields, some of the fields would come under a classification called personal data, like a first name, last name, middle name, gender, email address, location, all those things. So do not think that it is going to only come from the worker BO. That is where they have done a smart job. They logically call this worker. They are going to call, everything they call it as worker, but the data that you are going to see, it is not only going to come from the worker BO. It is going to come from some of the RBOs also. Yesterday, as I told you, even if you go and select the field from an RBO without knowing it is a part of an RBO, that is still fine. Workday will go and join for you. Okay, so think all those things are worker related data that may not come from worker BO. It can come from worker and worker related BOs. Guys, you understand? So if you go and see all the optional services, majority of optional services are related to the data the template has got. The data the template has got. Okay, so that's the reason I told you, if you choose a template called worker template, the data provisioning services is completely different from if you go and choose a payroll related template, because payroll related template is going to provide you the payroll related data set, but worker is going to provide you the worker related data set. Okay, what they did is they know the data provisioning, the data need to be provided to you. So they divided the data into different categories, and each category is available for you as a single service. For example, if you want a picture of a worker, that is available as a separate service. If you want a personal data, it is available for you as a separate service. If you want the status data, whether that guy is still working or is retired or terminated, all the status related fields, that is available in the status service. Position data, what kind of position he is holding, what was the position he was holding before, right? And the contract, if it happen to be contract related data, then leave, absence related data, compensation related data, identification means like, what is the social security and all those things, national identifiers. So and all the dependent related data and the qualification related data. I'll come to the transaction log a little bit later. So they divided the data which is related to the worker into different groups, and those fields belonging to different groups, they don't need to come from one single BO. It can come from the related BO. So you can choose some field from, for example, I am interested in first name and last name. So I'll say I want this particular service. Of course, you need to know what are the fields available under this category called personal data. If you do not know the field that you require, where it belongs to, you have a problem, definitely. That how will you come to know is again is to keep on working on the system and go to community, identify this particular, just choose it and go and see what is there, then you come to know about it, right? So if I want the first name, last name, or gender, and all those things, it belongs to this one. So if my output is going to contain first name, last name, and gender, I'll go and choose this service. That's the reason I told you some of the services are optional. So he's not saying all the data related services are mandatory, because he knows that you don't require all the data. You require some of the data from this particular fields, from these groups. That's why they have given you a set of services which are option to you. Why certain services are mandatory? Because without those kind of services, you can't even proceed in the integration. That you'll understand that. Okay, understood, right? For example, if we have a parameters, so the parameter launch screen is required, right? If you go and remove this one, then the parameter launch screen will not be available for you. Then your integration will not work. That's why they are saying this is the one of the service available, and that is mandatory. You don't have any choice. So the mandatory services are all kind of helping the integration to proceed. All optional things are all is nothing but your specific to your integration, predominantly data. So I repeat it. So now you know what is a template is. Now first, what do you let me think in this way, right? In order to have a core connector integration, you need services. Who bundles the services? Who bundles that?
Sorry, what was the question?
No, if you want to write the core connector integration, you need services, right?
Correct.
Okay. So who is bundling all the services?
Is it based
Template, right?
so that you select?
Yes.
This is the guy who bundles all the services together, right? Logically grouping them, right? So you need to choose a template first. So when you identify a template, what you are indirectly identifying is the services that you require for your core connector. Now you understood what is a template mean?
Yes.
Right. So by a template is nothing but a collection of logical collection of services. You need services for your core connector integration. So you will not go and choose this service I require, this service I require, this service I require. You may miss something. That's why they are trying to give to you as a one single bundle, logical bundle. That bundle is nothing but your template. By identifying a template, you are identifying a set of services that you can make use of for your integration. Is it clear?
Yes, it's clear to me.
Okay, what about others?
Yeah, Bala, that's clear.
Very good. Okay. So now I'm going back there. Okay. I don't want to choose one big things. I want the personal data service. So I will ask you a simple question now, right? I logically think and answer my question. So what is the difference between personal data and the status data? Are they mutually exclusive or they have some common fields?
I would take a guess. I would say they are mutually exclusive, right? Because the personal data would contain name, first name, last name.
They are
Why start?
exclusive. Right.
Start because yes, right.
They are mutually exclusive. Right. So what is the content? I mean, what is the data section fields? This particular service contains set of fields which are qualified or classified as a personal data. Similarly, the second one is again a set of fields which are classified as a status. Right? Okay, so they are mutually exclusive, obviously. So my next question to you, I'm selecting this one. Does it mean that I am selecting all the personal data that is available under this group? Or do I have an opportunity to go and choose something later point of time out of the group? Which is better? You don't need to answer my question.
Yes.
You tell me which is better.
What's the question again? I didn't get that.
Okay, by selecting this particular service, you have two options. The first option is, you like it or not, all the fields belonging to personal data, you get it. That is option number one. Option number two is, you have another opportunity to go and see what are the fields available under this group, and you go and pick whatever the fields you want from the group. That is option two. Which option is better? You want the entire set all the time, or you want to pick and choose option?
Option two.
Option two. That's the reason you have multiple steps of configuration. First, the step is you are selecting all this. First step is selecting the template. The second thing is selecting the services, and you go one by one. And one by one is nothing but you are configuring whatever the services that you have selected. Okay, whether it is a mandatory one or it's an optional one, whatever you have selected from the template, all the services need to undergo a configuration step. Understand? That is what you will be doing in your core connector. Understand, guys? You select the template. Since you are selecting the template, you have an option to go and select all the required services, and each services that you select, you need to undergo a configuration process, which is nothing but the configuration process of the core connectors. You get a kind of a high level idea now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's all I did. Okay. So what happens is, when I say okay, it is going to give me an error message now. Don't worry about it. I got an error message. Okay. So if you go and see the error message, it will tell you there are there are integration attributes enabled for this integration system that are marked required for launch, but do not have an initial value assigned to them. Please use the related menu item and complete this. What they are saying is, some of the services that you enabled here or automatically got enabled requires some configuration. Pretty much all the services will work with the default value. Understand? So you don't require any configuration if you're happy with the default value. But there are some configuration, they do not have a default value. That configuration need to be addressed. That is the reason it says that. So I said okay, don't worry about it, say okay. So first step is step 1, the configuration step. Creation of core connector using a template and services. Second step is go to action, go to integration system, see how many things are there. Configure integration attributes, configure integration field attributes, configure integration field overrides, configure integration maps, configure integration notification, configure integration services. All these things you will be configuring, but at this point of time it looks like a very big, we are trying to boil an ocean. It's not like that. Very logical, very simple. Okay. So first step is you need to go to integration attributes, because some of the integration attributes do not have a default value. Go to integration attributes. The screen will change, right? The screen will change. So if you look at the screen, some of them, if you look at the screen, there are options, right? These are the attributes for different services, right? Output file name, output document tags. I will explain you everything. Don't worry about it. And next is a version, right? This is required for launch. What is the meaning of required for launch? When you start the integration, this version should have a value. So that does not have a value now. That does not have a value. That is the one it is giving a error message. How to provide a value? Go and hit the plus sign. Okay, a row will be added for you. And what is the version of integration that you want to run? There are many integration versions available. Always choose the maximum one, right? Always choose the maximum one. What is this? You have one more field here. So what does that mean is, the value that you are choosing, is it for all the tenants or it is for testing? You can choose different versions for different tenants. So suppose if I want to do it for sales side, I want to make use of 25. And if you want to for production, plus again, for production you may want to do 22. So you can give as many different values for each environment. If you do not choose any environment, for example, then it is applicable for all the tenants. In our example, I don't know what instance we are using it. I'm sure it is not production, but so that's the reason I'm choosing something here and I'm leaving it as blank. So whatever version the current tenant is, it is going to be applicable for that particular current tenant. Okay. So this is the required for initial launch. That is the reason you got the error message. Say okay. Now you got some alert message, or you may not have an alert message. That's still fine. You are good to go. The error message is gone. The error message is gone. So what you are going to do is, as soon as you select the template and services, right, come to the field attribute, come to the integration attributes, configure integration attributes, select the version of your integration. Guys, understood?
Yes.
Yes.
Understood, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the initial setup. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is, next, I'm going to talk about the configure integration field attributes. When I choose this one, in the left-hand side, whatever the services that you are selected, I selected only one service so far, right? That is personal data. If you select multiple data services, all of them will be listed for you one by one. I'll cancel this because by mistake I selected only one. I need to show you some. I'm going to create another one. Create integration system, so that way you can it's a revision also for you. Okay, create integration system. I'm going to name it CC 19 third second attempt. My integration template is search for worker. I'm saying okay. After selecting the template, it is going to provide me the list of services. Some of the services are mandatory. I don't have a control. Some of them I have an option. So I'll come to this data service. I want personal data. I want positional data. I want what else? I want compensation data, and I want related personal data. So I selected, I think, 3 or 4 data services. Say okay. I get an error message. That is because a version is not selected. Go to action, integration system, configure integration attributes. Look for the launch required for launch. Hit the plus sign. A new row will be added, and choose the version. Is better to choose the highest version and leave the environment as it is. Say okay. Your field attribute is done. The next configuration is, I'm going to do the field attributes. In the field attributes, you see whatever the data services that you have selected, that is listed here. What is the purpose of doing the configuration? What is the purpose of doing the configuration for integration field attributes? You selected the groups, but you not selected the individual fields. So that's the reason the groups are listed here. From that group, you are going to select the fields that you require. So I'm going to highlight the first group. Once you highlight the first group, the right-hand side is going to provide you all the fields which are available in that particular group. It makes sense? There are 74 fields available in the personal data thing. Okay. What do you want from it? I want the first name. Right? So I want the first name. So when you say required field, what will happen is, if you are not getting the value from the source system, the first name value, then the integration will fail. So some of the data are mandatory in nature to hand it over to our endpoint. So if you know what are the fields that has to have a value, then declare it is declared as a required field in your field section. So if the data is not provided, then your integration system will fail with the proper error message. Then you can go and fix it. What is the maximum length? So the first data maybe is 100 characters, but your system says, I don't want 100 characters, I want the first 15 characters. So you can do the substring here itself. They really gave a very good thought process, guys, right? They did a very good research on the integration side, and they try to accommodate everything using the configuration. Right? So that they are trying to keep away from you coding. Suppose if you want the full of them, you don't need to give the link. So I want the last name, right? And what do you want? I want the title, right? And let's say reporting name, local, whatever, right? Whatever you want is selected, right? I want gender, birth date, okay, country of birth, whatever you want. Once this is done, then I'll go and choose from the positional data. The position has got 50 fields are available there. Suppose if you want all of them, just go and click here. Everything will be selected, right? But I hope you will never have an opportunity to select everything. So effective date, primary position, position title, business title, all these things I need. Then the compensation data, right? The compensation data is compensation change reason, total annual base pay. But these things I told you guys, very, very, very important. All the groups that you have selected and all the fields that they have come up with come with those groups, they don't need to come from one single BO. Okay, it is related to worker. So predominantly, many of them are going to come from any one of the RBOs. Even if you go and select a field from an RBO, right? System knows how to join them. Like what I said, yesterday, the semantic layer. So you don't need to care whether it's an RBO or a PBO. You just keep on going, selecting those fields. Internally, Workday, with the help of the metadata, it knows where exactly it is coming from, and it knows what are the BOs are involved after you are selecting all the fields. Then corresponding join condition, it will automatically make inside. So the purpose of the configuration, what we are trying to do here is you are enabling the Workday to extract information from the source system. How you are enabling the Workday to form its own extract mechanism by providing the field name. By providing the field name, with the help of the metadata, Workday knows how to extract the data that whatever you're looking for by appropriately joining and all those things. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Bala, I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, so you were telling that these fields are coming from either main BO or the RBOs also. So
Right.
will the calculated fields also come in this if I'm adding
Fantastic question, man. I want somebody to ask this question. It won't come. Okay. That is the reason you have a separate. I'll come to that. Let me save this. Let me save the screen, and then I'll answer your question. Because I cannot answer your question right away by showing something because the screen is not saved yet. Okay. So
Okay.
hold for 1 second. Then I'll go to the related person data. What happened? Related person data. Then whatever you want here, right? Person ID, relationship, and then person. Then what else do you have? First name, middle name, blah blah, the same thing, all those things, man. Right? Now I selected at least one field from each group. I'm going to say okay. Now my integration field attributes is done. And I don't know who asked this question. Does it include your calculated field? Obviously, no. Because when you create a calculated field, right, system does not know how to categorize it. System does not have any sense to figure out what kind of data that is going to contain. Right? You do some calculation, right? And that calculation might involve your pay rate. So immediately you can, just because you are involving the pay rate in your calculation, I cannot say is something related to the compensation. Probably it may be related to your loan. So what I'm trying to make here is Workday, it does not have that capability to categorize your calculated field, even though it knows it has got some calculated fields there. So safely, it is going to skip all the calculated fields. But definitely, there is a purpose why you are creating a calculated field. You want to include in your integration. That's the reason Workday has provided you a separate service called Maps. I'm sorry, field overrides. Field overrides. So in the field overrides, you will go and include all your calculated fields. Good. Can I answer your question?
Yeah. Just as extension to that, so you were showing that there are a number of versions of that same service, right?
Version of the same, yeah.
So you told to choose a maximum version of it.
Uh-huh.
So normally, what is that version? Is it like some additional fields are added every time, or any changes to that? On what basis it is a new
Your
version?
integration engine, man. Your integration engine. Understood?
Okay.
Right? So, did I answer your question or still you have a question?
No, I thought that maybe some additional fields are added. So that's why I had the question of even the calculated fields.
No. It's not like that. It's for launching.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, good. So now I finished my field attributes, right? Okay, say done. I'm going to create some calculated fields now, just for purpose. Create calculated field. So what? Let's say my calculated field is CF right? Or 3. That's fine. First field, whatever, man. And let's say I'm putting in workers. And my function is, let's say, convert currency, right? Whatever. So your source currency amount field is, let's say, choose something, whatever it's going to come. Hold on, guys. 1 minute. Usha, I have food for you. Yeah. Okay, guys. Sorry. So I'm going to choose base pay proposed annualized amount, and target currency field as, let's say, Indian, IND. Target currency code field, INR, right?
Yes, I
INR.
can out.
That's right. As of date field is, let's say, today. Yeah, today. Tomorrow is there. Today. And currency rate is current currency rate. Return 0 on another. Okay. So I calculated a calculated field like this, right? Let's remember this field name. So done. So how do you search for your integration thing? INT SYS, that is your prefix. Colon CC underscore 19 underscore 3 underscore 1, I believe. Or not 2. 2, right? Okay. Now, with this configuration, I'm going to stop it today because if I proceed, it will confuse you. Okay. I wanted to stop with the previous one, but we already talked about the calculated field. That's why I'm coming here. Right. So we finished. Sorry, guys. We finished the integration attributes and the field attributes. Right. Now, in order to do a field override, first thing is I need to create a placeholder, right, in your configuration. In your integration, you need to create some placeholder. And then later point of time, that placeholder is going to be replaced by your calculated field. How to create the placeholder? So you need to come to the configuration integration service. You need to create a custom integration service called create integration field override service. That override service is not available to you yet. If the service is not available to you, you cannot configure the service. You cannot configure the service. So how did I configure my data service? Data service was existing before, right? Let me cancel this, guys. I'll tell you. Right, I'm going here. I was able to do a configure integration field service because the data service is already selected. But if I try to do a configure the integration field override thing, that field override service will first of all it should exist, right? If we go and see the integration integration services, it will list all the integration services, right? What are the services available? If you look at that one, the field override is not there. Look at this. Date launch parameters. The map is there. Worker integration configuration is there. Integration map foundation is there. Integration map jobs is there. Everything is there, but the field override service is not there because that is an that is you don't because why that is not defaulted? Can you answer the question? Why that service is not available to you as a mandatory one? What is the purpose of that service? Field override service? Anybody can answer? what is the purpose of field override service?
Is it the placeholder for the calculated fields?
Yes. The field override service, it is to include your calculated field. Understand? So every integration, it is not necessary that it will include the calculated fields. Understand? So that is the reason the service itself is not embedded in your template. Suppose if you are going to deal with your calculated fields, that service has to be there first. Then only using that service, you can configure the service. How do I include a service? To include a service, you need to go to the custom service. Custom integration services. Custom integration services. You go and add a record and give the name of that integration service. I'm going to create one that is called create integration field override service. And you need to provide the name for that. CC 1932 field override service. And here you create a placeholder. Placeholder 1. You can give some description if you want. And you can create any as number placeholders you can do. Placeholder 2. Let's say placeholder 3. Right? Say okay. I have 3 and you have to say where the data is going to come from. It is going to come from the worker. It is going to come from the worker, and these are the 3 placeholders that I did it for my field override service. Now I need to configure that. How do I configure? Say okay. Go here. Integration service. Configure your integration field override service. What happens is, whatever the field override service that you created, that will come with the placeholders that you have selected. Okay. Now I'm going to choose my calculated field called what? CF underscore 19 underscore something. I'm going to choose this field now. And you can choose whatever field, but everything is going to be from the worker, right? So let's say marital status. Marital status, right? And let's say I have what is called location. I don't know, man. Like you can choose whatever you want, right? Or city of birth, cost center. Say gender, whatever, right? I created this one, right? Say, and you have when you go and do the field override, whatever the field override thing you got it, that will come, and it is going to have one more thing called define eligibility, right? So if you look at this, up to what are the things I did? First is template, then services, then the field selection. Fourth thing is your calculated fields. What you have done so far? You have done your select and you have done your from. Am I right? And you have done your join. That's all you have done. You're able to visualize that.
Hey, Bala, did we do the join? Or are we just doing the select from only?
Join does by join. Who does join?
The services.
join does by Workday, right? It knows, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I mean, yes, you are right. Workday did the join. I was confused between the filter. So we haven't done the filters yet, right?
Right. No,
Right.
the where condition is for join.
Yeah. So because the primary business objects are joined with related business objects.
And you may have your own filter, right? It's possible, right?
Yes.
You may have your own filters, right? Where do you configure your own filters? Define eligibility. We are going to define a rule called define eligibility. This is a rule. That one will decide what is your own filter condition is. Is it clear?
Yes.
Right? So
Yes.
I don't want to proceed, but it will confuse you guys. Right? We are going to revisit the whole thing again tomorrow. Many times, like another next 7 days, we are going to repeat the same thing again and again and again. Right? At one particular point of time, you know what we are doing, but it's a logical step. Right? So people will say core connector configuration is very, very cumbersome. It is a lot of steps are there. It is very confusing. No, it is very logical, right? If you understand what you are trying to do, then it is very logical, right? I hope that I'm explaining the core connectors very logical way, so you all understand whatever I said so far, man. Yes or no?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay, you understood, right?
Uh,
If you are,
yeah, I did. I have a question, Bala.
yes,
Yeah, when you configure the field override services, the field override services does not restrict you to include only calculations. I see that you can include all the fields from the BO.
yes, he can. Suppose,
Okay.
yes, okay, I tell you. Suppose if I am a lazy person, do not follow this, right? Okay, do not follow this, but I'm just telling you to handle a scenario. Suppose you are going for an interview or something like that. If they ask the question, at least you should tell them how to handle the situation. Suppose I'm looking for one particular field. If I don't know that field belongs to what group, right? I'm looking for one field in worker. I want that field in my integration, and I do not know what group that the field belongs to. What I do is I'll go to field override. I'll create a placeholder and go on map it here. Very bad, but okay, very bad. But yes, I can handle it. Right? But it is meant for it to answer your question. It is meant to include the calculated fields. But at the same time, right, if some fields are missed out in the groups, then this is the only way to include that field if you require that field.
Okay, thank you.
Bala, this is Anand. Just a quick question on the in including the calculated fields. When you went to the custom integration services, what was the service you chosen for to include the calculated fields? I just want to see.
Yeah, sure. Integration field override. How you need to remember is you are creating a placeholder and you are overriding the placeholder, right?
Yeah, that part is actually fine.
No. Wait a minute, Anand. Wait a minute. I mean, you want to know what is the service name,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'm just telling you how to remember the service name.
Okay.
What kind of activity you are going to do? You creating a calculated field and you're creating a placeholder and you're overwriting later point of time, right? Since you are overriding the field, right? Therefore, that service is called field override.
Okay.
Okay, make sense?
Okay.
You want
So
you want to know the name of the service, or you want to know how to include a service?
the name of the service that you have chosen.
Yeah, that is a field override.
Create create field override.
Yeah. So if you go and see our integration services,
Yes, yes, that's what I wanted to
right?
see.
In the integration services, now it will list the custom integration service that you added,
Okay.
right?
Okay. And
This is,
and when you did that, you went to you type
so
create.
here I went to the customs.
Yeah.
I said plus, right? I said plus. I go here and set create, and I
Okay.
choose the integration service from here.
Okay. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Yeah. Thanks, Bala.
No issues. So clear, guys.
Bala, sorry if I missed it. I just wanted to know what is that initial service to invoke?
Initial service.
So,
The task name. The task
no,
name.
no. In the tabular column, the second column, the first, yeah, on the top.
I'll go here. Okay, tell me which one you're
Okay.
talking about.
We have that integration services table, right? Below that, yeah.
Uh huh.
The first
Uh
one,
huh.
there's a checkbox called initial service to invoke.
Initial service to invoke. Yes.
So can you just tell me what is that? Probably I missed it.
It's the ESB. ESB is an enterprise service bus, man. Right. So that's what I told you, right? If some people will they don't even worry about all the mandatory services. They don't care about it. But my suggestion is you should know each and every service what it does, right? So that will give you a deeper architectural kind of a knowledge to you, right? How the entire core connector architecture works, right? That you'll come to know only when you know each and every services. So if I take each and every services now, it will be too burden for you because you will not be able to connect the dots, right? So let me explain the simplest way to achieve the core connector integration. Once you are able to do all the simple stuff, then if I go to the next level, you are able to connect the dots, man. That's why I'm not taking in an alphabetical order or the order in which they appear, right? I will go in a logical way, but I will explain to you what is
Okay.
ESB means, everything. That's the main thread, man. When you invoke the integration, if you write a Java program or C program, the main is the first thread gets executed, right? From the command prompt, the same way.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's basically the thread, man. It's basically the thread. Nothing more. I mean, we don't need to get into those details. Okay. So, any other question on uh, how to configure the stuff, guys? And one more thing, every once in 3 months or 4 months, right? Generally, I will have some kind of I'll invite you guys for a seminar, webinar. I will take one topic and I'll go very deep into it. So I think it is going to be scheduled in a couple of months. Those who are interested, let me know. I will send you the invite. and it is for 2 to 3 hours on Saturday or Sunday. So we'll take one. I will take one topic and we'll go very deep about the topic. Okay, I'll let you know, guys.
I am interested.
Okay, right? Okay, guys. So is any questions so far? Or we'll again meet on Monday.
Okay, thank you, Bala. Bye.
Thank you, guys. See you on Monday, guys. Bye.
Thanks, Bala.
Thank you.
Have a nice weekend. Bye bye.